Hi there, folks. Well, over the next few minutes, I'd like to share some ideas around what is managing your state of well-being all about, your mental health, as we work with our mental health. And the reason I'd like to talk around this is I was having a conversation with somebody recently, and they said, if I do all this work, will I be happy all the time? And I said, no, that's not the whole point of working with our mental health. In fact, when we start working with our mental health, what does happen is sometimes you've got to face your fears and your demons. You've got to start working with those. And that's quite a murky process. So it's not just about positive thinking. You're going to fall into those days where you really feel down and you really don't feel great about what's happening. And if we have this feeling that, we must feel happy all the time, we must be fine all the time, that can turn us into what I call the I'm fine brigade. So as you meet people out there and they say, how are you doing? And you throw this mask up, I'm feeling fine, everything's great. Meanwhile, deep down, you're feeling financially insecure, neurotic and emotional. That's the acronym for fine. And I'm not saying go out there and tell everybody how you're feeling. You don't want to, hang your washing out for everybody to see unless it's a safe space and you can trust that person. But it is about being honest with yourself first and saying, I'm not feeling great today. I'm not feeling good. And this is what managing our well-being is about. It's about allowing us to feel that, because what happens is if we feel we must be happy all the time, we can also start feeling this shame. I'm not allowed to feel down. I'm not allowed to feel sad. It's a weakness. And what we do is we start adding suffering to the pain. Pain is inevitable in life. That's part of being human. We are going to feel pain. But the suffering is what we can do to ourselves when we go through that pain. I'm not good enough. Look at me. I shouldn't be feeling this. Now, if we start going into it, and this is for me another really key part of well-being, it's about giving ourselves that kindness and compassion as we fall into that dark hole. And what happens when we give ourselves that understanding, that kindness and compassion, and allowing to go into that dark space, we remove the suffering, and then we can just deal with the pain. And the process will most likely be quicker. I'm not saying we must set a timeline to it, because sometimes it can take a long time. Sometimes it can be quicker. It depends on the scenario and it depends what you're going through. But what happens ultimately, and this is for me what we are doing when we're working with our well-being and our mental health, is we start working with this the emotional pendulum. When we're not working with it, we can force that happiness and we have that dopamine rush, that euphoria, and the pendulum's up here. We're feeling great. Retail therapy, I bought stuff, I feel good. And then a day or so later, we have the buyer's remorse, and now the pendulum swings over here. We're feeling down, depressed, equally as much as we were euphoric just the other day. And as you start working with this well-being, the pendulum swing becomes less and less of a swing. It's less intense on both sides. You feel maybe more joy instead of this euphoric rush. You feel pain, but you're not feeling the additional suffering because you are giving yourself that kindness. So for me, that's really what's, in the bigger picture, what working with our well-being is all about, our mental health. It is about allowing ourselves to experience both the day and night of life. So those are just some thoughts, folks. I'll share some other ideas with you later on, but until then, take care and stay aware.